Negotiations between Ukrainian and Russian officials are underway in Istanbul. There's little expectation it'll bring an end to the month-long conflict, but Turkey's president is optimistic.
We believe that it's a period where concrete results must be achieved in these negotiations. At this stage, you, as the members of the delegations, have assumed a historic responsibility. The entire world is looking forward for a positive outcome from these talks. You are the ones laying the foundation of peace under the guidance of your leaders, and we are ready to make any contribution which will ease this process.
There's been regular contact between the two sides, but no breakthrough at 3 previous rounds of face-to-face talks. Moscow is seeking guarantees Ukraine won't join NATO. Kyiv wants a ceasefire at the very least.
The President of Ukraine gave clear instructions to our delegation. We do not trade people, land or sovereignty. This is not a subject for negotiation. Here our position is reinforced, concrete, supplied by international law and Ukraine's armed forces, international sanctions that have been applied against Russia, and weapons that have been handed over to us to deter the aggressor.
On the ground, Ukraine's president says his forces have recaptured the town of Irpin. It's on the western outskirts of the capital, Kyiv, but it's still a dire situation in the east. The mayor of Mariupol says 5,000 civilians have been killed since the war began and 160,000 remain trapped. However, some may get out on Tuesday, with Ukraine opening 3 corridors in the Donetsk region. A Russian strike, meanwhile, has hit the regional government building in the southern port city of Mykolaiv. Hopefully we'll have those pictures a little later. The city has been under heavy assault for weeks. Let's bring in Stephanie Decker, who joins me live now from that city of Mykolaiv. Stephanie, there's been that attack on the building. What have city officials said?
Well, there has been a video message posted on social media by the regional government. Vitaly Kim, this is his office, confirming that strike. Once you do pull up those pictures, you'll see it's a massive building and there is severe damage, a hole in the middle of the building. He's saying that his office was hit in that, but saying that a lot of the casualties are actually very low. There is still a rescue operation undergoing. We arrived in the city just soon after that attack. We had planned to come here before. It was incredibly tense. We arrived just close to that building, going to interview a military commander, and we saw rescue workers run away from the building. We had to go into a shelter. We went into a car park. There was rumors of a Russian plane overhead. So it just gives you a sense of the panic here. We spoke to one lady in the shelter who burst into tears. She said, "I'm terrified. We've been living this for ages." The forces here have managed to push back a Russian advance for weeks now. Russian ground forces, of course, as you're seeing now, also consecutive attacks from the sky. It is hugely significant. Why? Because this is part of the south. This is the southwestern front line, and it's on the way to Odessa, which is the biggest port city in Ukraine, hugely strategically important. And of course, if the Russians manage to take this entire southern front, it would cut off potentially Ukraine to its access to the Black Sea and to the Azov Sea. So it has been relatively quiet, I think. We can say relatively over the last couple of days, of course, shelling, etc. But certainly this is something that is again causing huge concern here, a massive strike against the heart of the administration of the government here.
All right, thank you for bringing us up to speed. Stephanie Decker, live for us in Mykolaiv. Let's head to Istanbul now, where Rasul Sadr is standing by and following those peace talks between Russia and Ukraine. Rasul, how likely is it that this round will yield any results?
Well, the officials here are not that much optimistic about any breakthrough. They say that mostly it depends on the negotiating parties' flexibility. So Russia has some tough conditions, and such as neutrality of Ukraine, demilitarization, denazification, and also Ukraine to accept Crimea as officially part of Russia, and also to recognize the eastern Ukraine separatist republics Donetsk and Luhansk. So the Turkish official says that Ukrainian side is showing willingness to make some of the concessions when it comes to the neutrality, which means that Ukraine not pursuing the goal of being a member of NATO, but in return, Ukraine is asking for security guarantees from some major NATO countries such as Turkey and France. And in terms of the demilitarization also, the Ukrainian side is also showing some signs of making some of the compromises. However, when it comes to the denazification, it's not clear what Russia means by denazification, and it is quite uncertain who is going to be defined as Nazis and who is not. So, but the most delicate issue here in the negotiations is the territorial integrity of Ukraine, because Russia is asking Ukraine to accept Crimea, which has been annexed by Russia in 2014, as a part of Russia officially, and also it's forcing Kyiv to recognize Donetsk and Luhansk also as independent states. So the officials are very much cautious if there can be a model developed to find a solution regarding the eastern Ukraine. So Turkey has been a favorable destination for the mediation, because it has been able to manage good relations both with Kyiv and Moscow. And the leaders between in Moscow and Kyiv have repeatedly said that they appreciate Turkey's balanced position regarding the ongoing war. The state is keeping good relations with Moscow. The Turkish airspace is open to the Russian airplanes. The trade is still in place. The gas export is in place. And also the Russian oligarchs are welcomed in Turkey. And even today, the Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich is in Istanbul. And in the morning, just before the negotiations started between the delegations, he met President Erdogan in Dolmabahce Palace in Istanbul, where the talks are being held. As I said, the officials here said that they have some certain hope. However, the success of the talks very much depends on how much Russia is going to make a retreat from its maximalist demands and the limits of the Ukrainian flexibility as well. These two issues are going to be the main determinative factors whether these talks are going to result any concrete tangible result or not.
Thank you very much, Rasul Sada, with those updates from Istanbul. And Jonah Hull is following developments from London on the suspected poisoning of Roman Abramovich, as we mentioned at the top of the show, at talks in Kyiv.
Bellingcat has developed a pretty sturdy reputation for its open source forensic investigations and reporting online. The organisation, as you said, they're reporting alongside the Wall Street Journal on this, saying that it had been in touch with potentially even commissioning, that's implied but not entirely clear from what they wrote, commissioning chemical weapons experts to conduct both remote and on-site investigations, presumably at the location where these meetings might have taken place, and that these experts have led Bellingcat to be able to confirm that on the night of the 3rd of March, 3 individuals, 2 of them senior Ukrainian negotiators, 1 of them Roman Abramovich, experienced symptoms consistent with poisoning with chemical weapons. Mr. Abramovich is described by Bellingcat as an entrepreneur. Of course, we know him better as the owner of Chelsea Football Club, a Russian billionaire oligarch thought to have contacts on some level at least with Vladimir Putin in the Kremlin. The symptoms reportedly, according to Bellingcat, included piercing pain in the eyes. One suggestion was that Mr. Abramovich may have lost his sight for a period of time. That's unconfirmed. But also peeling skin on the faces and the hands. With the Wall Street Journal adding that the health condition of all 3 has since improved and that their lives were not in danger, are not in danger, and these chemical weapons experts going further, saying the dosage and type of substance likely was insufficient to cause life-threatening damage and was most likely intended to scare the victims, with the Wall Street Journal adding that it believes the suspected attack was orchestrated by hardliners in Russia who wanted to sabotage the talks.